service on buses and commuter rail lines today. Strikers are demanding better pay and working conditions. Dow's up 773 right now. This is CBS News.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Visit libertymutual.com to learn more.
Hello, this is Elder Law Attorney Carol Thomas. Our Saginaw seminars are coming up on Wednesday, November 30th at the Horizons Conference Center on State Street in Saginaw. I have sessions at 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock. If you'd like to make a reservation, please call my office at 989-793-2300. I talk about wills and trusts, the importance of them to get assets protected if you ever need nursing home care. It's also extremely important to understand why you need a financial power of attorney. Why do you need a medical power of attorney? I love presenting the seminars because this is where you're going to find out what is necessary. I've had so many people come to my office recently that I am not able to help because they do not have their documents set up. I think it's worth your time to come to one seminar, learn what you need to know, and then you can make the decision. But isn't it amazing? By coming to one seminar, you can learn how to protect your life savings. Please call my office at 989-793-2300 to make a reservation. I promise you, you will not be disappointed if you come to one of my seminars.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
Very cloudy skies and 60 degrees at 9:05. Good morning, I'm Mike Percha. Isabella County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a crash that occurred Wednesday just after 5:30 p.m. that left a 31-year-old dead. Police say a 49-year-old Freeland man was driving a semi-truck and failed to stop at a signal at an intersection. He collided with a car driven by the 31-year-old from Weedman. The Weedman man was pronounced dead at the scene. The crash occurred near Lake Isabella, west of Mount Pleasant. The truck driver was taken to a local hospital for evaluation. Voters in Tuscola County have rejected a bond proposal for a new jail. The proposal called for borrowing up to $44 million, which would have been paid over 30 years by a tax levy of 0.9829 mils for the first year. The proposal failed by about 2,000 votes. Tuscola County Sheriff Glenn Scrent says the current 60-year-old jail is in rough shape, with several issues needing to be addressed, such as overcrowding and structural problems. It's the second time voters have rejected a new jail in the county, though Scrent says if the proposal were to make it to the ballot a third time, he believes it could pass in the future. 5 Dow chemical leaders have been recognized for their efforts to promote inclusivity. Luis Vega, Vice President of Government Affairs and Advocacy, and Javier Constant, an executive for the company in Latin America, both made it onto Outstanding as a top 100 LGBT executive list for 2022. Amy Wilson and Neil Shiori were also named to the top 50 ally executives list, and Erica Everett, Dow Global Autonomous Vehicles Platform leader, was number 14 on the top 100 LGBT plus future leaders list. Dow officials say they continue to advocate for members of the LGBT community, both in the workplace and through the company's GLAD Employee Resource Group, as well as outside the company at both state and the national level. WSGW News Time, 9:07.
Baking cakes wasn't part of Edible's original game plan, but who can resist a slice of rich chocolate cake topped with strawberries and whipped frosting? Probably not you. And Definitely not us. Sweet for sharing or sweet for snacking on your own, these chocolate masterpieces are just the right size for birthday parties or those random treats for yourself. Find a store near you at edible.com and pick up your chocolate cake with strawberries and whipped frosting today. Be sweet today with the Sweet from Edible arrangements on Tittabawassee and Saginaw.
From research to results, Rank Seed is rooted in technology. It starts with good genetics, and Rank Seed evaluates more than 80,000 data points of breeding material. By planting plots throughout the Midwest and Great Plains, we expose our genetics to a wide range of environments, which helps us select the best varieties. We then utilize the latest technologies, including robotics and color sorters, to ensure the highest germination and the best quality of seed, tirelessly striving to better serve our customers. Rank Seed, results since 1846.
WSGW News Time, 9:08. The weather forecast is next. Rick Snyder can invoke his right to remain silent at a civil trial related to lead contamination in Flint's water crisis. That's the decision a federal appeals court released Tuesday. The court says Snyder's willingness to answer questions during a 2020 interview with lawyers doesn't mean he waived his Fifth Amendment right at trial. Some Flint families are suing two engineering firms responsibility for the lead crisis because they performed work at Flint's water plant. The firms deny liability and blame public officials. A trial ended in August without a verdict, but another is planned. Snyder cited a right to remain silent when criminal charges were pending against him and others. Sri Thanadar is moving from state to national politics after he was elected to the U.S. House district that represents most of Detroit and a handful of downriver communities. The congressman-elect spoke about his plans for Michigan's newly drawn 13th district.
I intend to serve my district to my fullest ability. I am honored. I know it feels so good to have this opportunity to bring federal dollars to the district for infrastructure. We have a lot of aging infrastructure, roads to be repaired, bridges to be repaired. We have flooding issues that need help from federal government.
Thanadar is the first Indian American elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. Michigan's reported just under 10,000 cases of COVID-19 over the past week. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services says just over 1,000 people were hospitalized with COVID as of Monday, which is 6% of the state's hospital beds. The week's daily case count is down 14% from the week prior. WSGW News Time, 9:10. I'm Mike Percha.
Here's your WSGW weatherology forecast. Mostly sunny and quite warm for today's highs top out near 72 degrees. Wind south-southwesterly 5 to 15 miles per hour. Higher gusts possible. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy. Lows drop to 50. Winds remain south-southwest 5 to 15. Higher gusts remain possible as well. Friday becomes mostly cloudy. Highs climb into the upper 50s. Winds turn to the west-northwest 5 to 10. Friday night, it remains mostly cloudy. Lows fall back to 34. And then a chance for afternoon rain and snow showers on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Phil Jensko with the WSGW weatherology forecast.
Right now it's 57.
Now, the only local radio talk show offering you the chance to ask your questions and express your opinions. From around your block to around the world, the Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 and online, WSGW.com.
Well, good morning to you, and welcome to another edition of the Art Lewis Show here on WSGW. We are on the road today to Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center on Weiss in Saginaw for the benefit of elder law attorney Carol Thomas. She is with us this morning, and we'll tell you that later on after the 10 o'clock news, we're going to talk to Dr. Mukesh Lathia, who is the psychiatrist who produced a McLaren documentary called Mentality, and directed by a Michigan director, Garrett Morgan. They'll be chatting with us up front, and we'll have open lines later on in that hour, time permitting. And then at 11 o'clock on Focus, I was forgetting what I was doing here this morning. We will be chatting with Mindy McIntosh about financial planning. All of that is coming up, but for this hour, we're going to spend time with Carol Thomas, our elder law attorney, And good morning to Carol.
Good morning, Art. It's great to be back with you.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here. And I will ask, as I always do, what's new in elder law?
Well, the good news is there isn't anything new. However, with the election, things can always evolve or change slightly. But
Yep.
we still can go forward and we can still help people if they need long-term care. For married couples, we can save everything. For single people, we can save about 60%. And as you know, Art, I've been doing this for years, and it's a very rewarding thing that if a spouse needs nursing home care, I mean, that's emotional enough without worrying about losing everything. But I want to ask you a question this morning. And that is, I've done this for years. I've encouraged people. And if people don't get their documents done ahead of time, and a spouse needs nursing home care, there are times I cannot help them protect anything, and they're at the mercy of the laws. What do you think I can do, or how do we encourage people, please, this is very serious, you need to get it done? Because it's just ironic, in the last month, I've had so many families I cannot help, and that's never happened before, but they don't have any documents, and I don't know how to convince people that it's such an important thing.
Sometimes it's repetition. You just have to keep saying it. And the other thing that happens is if it happens to somebody close to them, that can wake you up. I mean, we all have this. True. We all have this feeling of invincibility. Mm-hmm. You know, it can't happen to me. You know, I used to be that way. And then in 2005, I had a muscle problem. It was it was caused externally by something I was working with. But all of a sudden I was told, you know, oh, this could be serious. And, you know, and all of a sudden I went, wait a minute, can't happen to me. But it did. And I think, sometimes the realities of the situation wake people up, and you know, you can talk to people till you're blue in the face sometimes and they don't get it, but when they see it happen, then all of a sudden rings the bell.
Exactly. But sometimes if it's too late, it's just heartbreaking for the families and for me.
So what is too late? Let's take a man and a woman married. One of the two spouses ends up in a nursing home and they did not have the proper paperwork. What constitutes too late?
What too late is if the individual in the nursing home, if their mental capacity is so diminished that they cannot sign documents stating that they want their money protected, I cannot help them unless we have a sympathetic judge. Now, some of the counties around here have great judges. I can go to court and I can still do it. But we have more and more judges that kind of don't want to touch this. And they say, if you're not prepared, they're not going to help the person get done what needs to be done.
So that we understand, let's take the case of a husband and wife. Husband goes into the nursing home. Mm-hmm. He has to be lucid. The wife can't sign as a surrogate.
Correct.
He has to do it. If he can't do it, it doesn't matter what she wants.
Exactly. And they can be out of luck. Now, a majority of the courts around here are still on our side. They will help us. But maybe it's ironic. There are a couple counties that won't have had people from those counties. And it's just heartbreaking that I am not able to help them. And you've got to have the mental capacity to sign these papers. So that's why I'm always preaching, please get documents done while you're competent. Actually, it was interesting. I had a husband and wife in just a couple weeks ago. They were 50 years old and they were getting the documents done. And she said her friends were all criticizing her. You're too young. Why are you doing this? And she said, well, my parents were in their mid-80s. My dad went in a nursing home. I saw what Carol did for everybody else, but she couldn't help us because they didn't have any papers. So she said to me, she decided it's never too early, but it could be too late.
It isn't too early, is
No, I said, now you're set for the next 50 years.
Well, let me ask you this then. Say a couple, 30, 40 years old comes in, mm-hmm. gets all the paperwork. Mm-hmm. It may be 30 years before they're going to use that paperwork. How much readjusting and, revamping is necessary to keep that current, if any?
None is needed at all, because the basic document to get things protected is the power of attorney document, where that's a document where you say it's okay for my wife, it's okay for my daughter to protect my assets. That's going to be good forever. But just to jump on something there, Art, this probably sounds terrible. I'm not worried about nursing homes for people under the age of 50. Now, I know it's certainly people under 50 going to nursing homes, but I'm just happy if after the age of 50, certainly 60, they get documents taken care of, because you never know at that point when there might be an issue.
So let's, I forgot where I was going with that now. I was going to ask about the medical power of attorney, because take nursing homes out of it for a minute. If you go into the hospital, one of the questions they ask you is, do you have an advance directive? And we don't have living wills in Michigan.
Correct.
Is that medical power of attorney what's considered to be an advance directive?
Yes, it is. It's the terminology is the same thing. It's naming who would you like to make your medical decision if you're not able to yourself. And those are free at every hospital. Everyone over the age of 18 should have one of those documents. It's been sad. We've had a few cases over the years. Someone in their mid-20s is in a terrible car accident. They don't have the document.
But now I have medical power of attorney, and I have financial, all that stuff. So I don't need one of those hospital documents, right?
Correct.
Mine
you don't.
is good. But they never asked to see it. They just asked if I have one.
You know, it's funny you should say that. We were talking about that yesterday. They just ask if you have it, and if you have it, they accept it.
They check it off. That's
exactly.
It.
Got that. Exactly.
Yeah.
But they do. Federal law requires upon every admission to the hospital, you're asked whether or not you want to be a DNR for that
Do
particular.
not resuscitate.
Do not resuscitate for that particular hospitalization. So that's not to be confused with the advance directive, the medical power of attorney that we're talking about. That's a document that's good forever, that you have named who will make the decisions for you.
But why do I need to sign a hospital DNR if I have somebody making a decision for me as to whether or not I want DNR?
Because the federal law says you have to. It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So I have all along agreed with you. It doesn't make sense. But in 1993, the federal government passed this law that if a hospital takes Medicare funds, which certainly they all do.
They all do.
They all do. They have to offer this advance directive. And the advance directive actually does tie into the states that have living wills. So since 47 states have living wills, it makes sense for them to have the advance directive.
So last question on this. If I travel, and let's say I go to anywhere USA outside the state of Michigan, is my advance directive good in that state at some local hospital in nowhere USA?
Every state recognizes the advance directive, the naming the person to make the decision. So I tell that to my clients, certainly they go to Florida or Arizona for the winter, throw it in your trunk, have it with you in case you need it. Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. We're talking to elder law attorney Carol Thomas. If you have any questions for Carol, have her answer them for you by calling us at 989-752-6111. Toll-free number is 866. No, forget that number. I get into a habit. That number's gone. It's been gone for a while. 989-752-6111. As I mentioned to you, we're broadcasting from Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center. We haven't been here in a number of years, but sitting with me right now is Megan. Good morning, Megan.
Good morning, Art. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So give us an overview of Hoyt.
Hoyt has been in the community for quite some time. We've been through the changes of COVID and we're stabilized now. And we are accepting long-term care and short-term rehab.
So that was my next question. What type of care is here? I always thought of this. I mean, for years and years, anytime I heard the name Hoyt, it was always Hoyt Nursing Home. And that's where it stopped,
Yes.
But how long has the rehab been part of it?
So the rehab's actually been a part of it all along, but people think of it more as a rest home. Anytime you get the word nursing home, it's often dubbed that, but we pride ourselves in excellent rehab. We work with Encore, and we have an excellent therapy department.
So if somebody's interested in Hoyt, is there a website where they can get more information?
Yes, we do have our website, or you can Google and you can find out all of the information on Google as well.
Long-term and short-term. And
Yes.
what's the difference? When does short-term become long-term?
So short-term would be, if you had a stroke or something like that, and you were to come in and get your rehab for a couple weeks and be able to return home is the goal, obviously, but sometimes that's not what happens. Then it is, it can turn to long-term care. And that's where Carol comes in and the importance of having documents on file and her being able to secure assets, because the average cost for long-term care is about $10,000 a month.
Okay. Yeah, got that. All right. What's the website again?
That is at nextcarehealth.com. It's easier to just type it in the Google.
All right. Thanks for chatting with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Again, Megan here at Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center on Weiss in Saginaw. We will take a break. Be back with Carol Thomas. If you have any questions about elder law, wills, and trusts, give us a call here on WSGW.
Do you have Medicare questions? Confused by all those TV ads? What's best for you? There are options available to you now through December 7th that you didn't have before. Talk to the folks at Medicare Choices in Saginaw today and have your questions answered. Did you know that now you can have up to $1,000 or more added to your Social Security check? Talk to Medicare Choices about a plan that eliminates copays. Call 989-899-7820 today. Medicare Choices of Saginaw. Again, 989-899-7820. It'll be the best call you ever made.
Hello, I'm here for Pioneer brand seeds in a particular part of a cornfield to make a particular point. Right here where I'm standing? Yes, you can plant Pioneer brand Chrome products right here. That's because Pioneer has a more extensive lineup of Chrome products than ever before, each one providing top yield potential and strong agronomics to fit corn rootworm pressure here, there, and everywhere. Your most productive acres? Yes. Your toughest? Yes. Dry soil, wet soil, clay soil, sandy soil? Yes, and you bet. Top of the hill, side of the hill, bottom of the hill, over the hill? All the above? Doesn't matter. There's a Pioneer brand Chrome product that can meet or exceed your yield goal on every acre, including the one I'm standing in right now. Contact your local Pioneer sales representative about Pioneer brand Chrome products. Field proven and ready for yours.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Uma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Uma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Uma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The latest reading on inflation indicates it rose at a slower pace in October. The consumer price index for the year ending in October was up 7.7%. Economists were expecting an 8% increase. Core inflation, excluding food and energy, rose at a 6.3% pace. Month over month, CPI was up 0.4%. That's less than forecast. Core CPI also rose less than expected, 0.3%. Also, the number of new claims for unemployment benefits rose slightly last week to 225,000. It's a historically low number, but an increase from the previous week. Tesla shares are lower after Wedbush analyst Dan Ives removed Tesla from his best ideas list. He says Twitter has become an albatross for Tesla. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
On 9/11, our nation made a commitment to never forget. Since then, it's been the Tunnel to Towers Foundation honoring those words with action. So many people gave their lives while saving others on 9/11. Tunnel to Towers carries forward that legacy of courage and heroism by honoring our country's military and first responder heroes, people who are willing to die for you and me. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
This is a test. WSGW is conducting a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This is a test of the emergency alert system on WSGW. Equipment that can quickly warn you during emergencies is being tested. WSGW serves Saginaw, Bay, and Midland counties, along with the surrounding area. This concludes this test of the emergency alert system on WSGW.
On the next Markley Van Camp and Robin show,
I guess we'll try to make sense of it all.
that is a very, very difficult job. We will have fun.
Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Weekdays at noon on 100.5 and 790. News Radio WSGW.
All right, we're back with you on the Art Lewis Show from Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center with elder law attorney Carol Thomas. If you have any questions about wills and trusts and the like, you can give us a call at 989-752-6111. And there are two words there, wills and trusts. I know some people that I've talked to in the past who've said, well, I got a will, I'm covered. So let us go back to the basics. What is the difference between a will and a trust? Because in the trust, you say you can save everything, house primarily, and then protect their assets. But if a will does the same thing, or doesn't do it when I'm alive, does it?
No, and you got right to the point there. And I probably hear it once a day from someone. I have a will. I thought I was all set. And then I'll be talking later on about the seminars, but then they say they come to my seminars and they realize a will for younger people, perfect. That's all you need. Who will raise my children? But as you get older and I say your children are adults, that's when if you own a home or you're paying on a home, I want to switch to a trust, because you're right, Art, a will only works after you die. So when people come into me and say, Dad is now in a nursing home, they say, but I have a will. I say that doesn't do anything because Dad's still living. So the trust is a document that lives with you, and then also after you pass away, makes the distribution of assets so much easier.
And I ask this all the time. It's one of those things I still don't understand. In the trust, you typically put real property.
Correct.
But you don't put my bank account. You don't put my retirement account. You don't put my cash assets.
And I'm going to say, for your listeners' benefits, you could probably go to 100 lawyers today that would all title money into the trust. I don't, because of the nursing home protection. Typically for a married couple, you have a joint trust. I don't want to put money in the joint trust because if one person needs nursing home care, I have to pull the money out of the joint trust and give it to the spouse who's not in the nursing home. So I think it's much easier if we don't title the money in the trust. We certainly have beneficiary designations. I don't want probate, but I only put real estate in the trust, and I've done it that way for over 20 years, and it works beautifully.
So I have to ask this then. Spouse, man and wife goes in the nursing home. They have joint accounts everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They have a trust. The house is protected. Their assets are protected. Can the husband, of his own volition, take that money out of the accounts and use it for whatever his needs are?
Well, there are two separate issues here. One is, he can go spend the money. That's okay. But if we're talking about then if she's in a nursing home, getting her eligible for Medicaid, he cannot do that. Because in the state of Michigan, anything that is his is considered hers. Hers is his. It's a joint marital asset. So what we have to do to nicely simplify this is if he's the one at home, she's in the nursing home, we want to transfer everything to him. So now, Art, are you understanding why we need that power of attorney that's very specifically written? Over 95% of powers of attorney we see don't have what we need, allowing transfers.
Carol can see my wheels turning.
Yeah, I can. I'm trying to keep talking because it's scaring me a little bit, but I'll let you go, Art.
Well, I guess the question is, if it's a joint account, his name is on it already.
Correct.
As well as hers.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you have to run interference to protect him from taking money out of what's his own account?
Right.
It's joint. He should be able to
And he
take it.
He can take it all
How does
out.
that endanger the Medicaid portion of the?
Because the state says it's all theirs together, whether it's in his name or her name.
Okay.
So that's where we need the trust and the powers of attorney to be able to transfer it and do
what
some.
the state is saying, if he's going to take money out, she has to agree to it, in effect.
Well, and it's more than that. It's not as simple as we don't just transfer everything to the husband and now the wife's on Medicaid. We have to set up a special trust. There's certain things we have to do for marital assets to get it protected. But this will surprise you, Art. Michigan is one of the few states that even if a couple's been legally separated for 20 years, no contact for 20 years, the state of Michigan says they're still married.
They haven't got a divorce.
Right, but they're legally separated.
Well, but they're legally married.
Correct. That's what the state says. But in other states, legal separations are recognized. So it stuns people when haven't seen the husband in 20 years is in California, and we have to call them and say, your legally separated wife is in a nursing home. We need your cooperation.
There's probably a lot more of that than people realize because, not to get overly religious or anything, but members of the Catholic faith may not get a divorce. They may live apart for years and years and years and years. So technically, they're still married, but they're living their own lives.
Right.
And the state says you're still married, the rules still apply.
Yes, but it's a good thing because for a married couple, we save 100%. So if they are single people, we can only save 60%.
Well, so let's take this case of this husband and wife who they're separated. You can use the word legally or not, doesn't matter. They're separated. Haven't been together in 15 years. One of them goes in a nursing home. They don't have joint accounts anymore. So what gets protected for the person in the nursing home, and how is it kept away from the separated husband?
Some very specialized trusts, and we do it all the time.
All right.
Very common when we have a lot of second marriages where they each had their own children, they had their own assets, and yet we have to transfer everything to the community spouse, the spouse at home. So the spouse in the nursing home, to get that person on Medicaid, has to have under $2,000. But it's just not as simple as we just don't transfer it to the husband and the state says, okay, because they say what's his is hers, hers is his. We have to do some special trusts at that point to get it protected. That's why we need the power of attorney that the wife has signed when she's competent, allowing us to do this. And I'm stopped if she hasn't.
Competency, there's that word again. Is that a subjective thing?
Very subjective.
You are the one that can determine competency.
Yes.
Do you need the certification of a doctor to determine that?
No, and it's interesting because even if a physician says someone can now no longer make decisions, if we as attorneys meet with the person and we feel they have legally, it's called a lucid moment. They know what's going on for that moment. We can have them sign the paperwork. But we're also extremely careful. If I don't feel the person is competent, we can't have them sign.
So you have to come into a Hoyt to talk to someone who's on long-term care. They've got put in here and they're going to go on Medicaid. And that person, when you get in the room, questionable their lucidity, whether or not they're with it or not. Does the law specify how long you can wait for that lucid moment? Or can you just sit there and keep talking for an hour until all of a sudden they pop in and sign now?
Technically, we could. I'm not sure that's ever happened. But yes, all we need is that lucid moment. They answer questions appropriately, and we feel that they're okay with what we're doing. But I wish Megan was at a mic because I know you run into this all the time. I'd love your input on this. It's gray. It's a very gray area. And we do the best that we can. But I want to follow the laws. I'm thrilled with the laws allow us to do in Michigan to protect. So I don't want to push it. And I need someone competent in order to help them.
Right. All right. We are broadcasting with elder law attorney Carol Thomas. She has some seminars coming up we'll talk about. We are here at Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center on Weiss in Saginaw. If you have any questions about elder law, give us a call, 989-752-6111. Let me chat with you for a moment about Thalen Volkswagen in Bay City. This month, I'm driving a new Volkswagen Taos, and I had not seen one before, and it's really neat. It's a compact SUV. It's adventurous, it's smart, it's versatile. It's always ready to go when you are. VW designed the Taos to make your daily driving experience a real joy. And its available 4-motion all-wheel drive and turbocharged engine makes it ready to handle the not-so-everyday, too. Streamlined, styling, sharp features. It's a joy to drive and a joy to look at. And the Taos is also packed with useful tech for your everyday driving. From the touchscreen display to the connected features, it seamlessly integrates into your life. You can check out the Volkswagen Taos today at Thalen Volkswagen, 1112 North Euclid Avenue in Bay City. Talk to a Thalen Volkswagen representative about Volkswagen's Sign and Drive program. Online, go to thinkthalen.com. Thalen, serving your automotive needs for over 45 years. We will be back with more here with elder law attorney Carol Thomas.
Your career takes flight when you join the winning teams at Soaring Eagle and Saganing Eagles Landing. The premier gaming and entertainment destinations in Michigan are currently hiring for a wide variety of positions for all levels of experience. Visit us online at SoaringEagleCasino.com for a full list of openings and learn about all the benefits and the new $15 an hour minimum wage. Apply today at Soaring Eagle Casino Resort and Saganing Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Moments like seeing my son's team cheer him on mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, Palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for postmenopausal women or for men with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
Hi, this is Mike Avery, and here's what's coming up this week on Outdoor Magazine. First, deer tracker Kevin Hannes talks about recovering your whitetail. Then Bob Hines of Central Coast Angling on big jumbo perch. Plus, Mark Borson of the DNR talks about den black bears. And in our third hour, it's processing your own venison with Mike Horswell of Jay's Sporting Goods. Listen Saturday mornings at 6 and Sundays at 9 on WSGW.
You are with WSGW in the premier kitchen and bath gallery showroom and design center studios.
And we're back with you at Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center for elder law attorney Carol Thomas. Megan is with us again. We wanted to include her in this discussion of what happens when somebody comes into the facility. What's the standard for competency?
So generally they come in from the hospital, and the hospital has to have that paperwork on file, the power of attorney or advance directives. They often only do the medical, so that's why it's important if you're working with an elder care attorney to have them do the financial. But if someone's cognition waxes and wanes, we can't have them making decisions just based upon, moments of lucidity, as Carol was talking about earlier. It has to be deemed by a physician, by actually two physicians, two signatures, for that power of attorney paperwork to go into effect. We can't have next of kin making decisions.
Time out.
Okay.
Time out. If you say that two doctors have to first deem the competency before the power of attorney goes into effect, I don't understand that. I got the power of attorney so somebody can make those decisions.
Yes, but as long as you are able to make those decisions, that is null and void.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah.
If I can make the decisions, I can make the decisions. But if I come here and I am deemed not competent, you have to have two doctors deem me not competent before you accept the power of attorney?
Correct.
So in other words, my competency nullifies the power of attorney. Is that basically what we're talking about here?
Yes.
Lovely. Thank you very much for confusing things. No, you've clarified it. I understand. All right, Megan. Megan is here at Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center, long and short term. Do people progress from short term to long term? They come in on short term and all of a sudden aren't making the progress necessary?
Yeah, so that would be a regression, and that's where we would need to look at, what community supports they had in order to return home, or if they needed to stay with us for long-term care.
And at what point does the financial power of attorney come into effect?
So that essentially should be done before even coming here for worst case scenario. But if it's not, then we have to have our social workers either get with a elder care attorney, send the family in that direction, or apply for Medicaid, which is quite a process. And then that really holds up things. So it's best to have everything in order, no matter what your age.
Yeah. The sooner the better, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Megan. Thanks for chatting with us. We'll take a quick break, come back, and we'll talk more with Carol Thomas. Also tell you about her seminars coming up, all after these notes.
This segment of Our Community's Care is brought to you by the Saginaw Community Foundation. For the month of November, Saginaw Community Foundation proudly spotlights Women of Color's Warm a Child for Winter drive-through coat giveaway. Warm a Child for Winter provides coats, hats, scarves, gloves, books, and more to children in the Great Lakes Bay region. On November 12th, 2022, Women of Colors will host the 9th annual Warm a Child for Winter event from 9 a.m. until noon at 1000 Tuscola Street in Saginaw. The goal for 2022 is to distribute outerwear to 500 children in need from newborns to 16 years old. Families living in poverty face many challenges. Keeping their children warm should not be one they must consider. Warm a Child for Winter is a collaborative effort of Women of Colors, Saginaw Public School District, Saginaw Police Department, Church of Christ South 17th, Molino Healthcare, Holy Family Catholic Church, Family First Credit Union, Wildfire Credit Union, and Victorious Believers Ministries.
Hello, this is Elder Law Attorney Carol Thomas. Our Saginaw seminars are coming up on Wednesday, November 30th at the Horizons Conference Center on State Street in Saginaw. I have sessions at 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock. I love presenting my seminars. There's so much information that people need to know. And the biggest comment I get after my seminars is I had no idea there was so much to learn. And honestly, I don't know where else people would get the information necessary to know, how do I protect my assets if I ever need a long-term care? How do I protect my assets if I ever need nursing home? What if my husband has a stroke and goes into a nursing home? Are we prepared to lose our life savings? I have been presenting seminars for over 20 years, and they always filled a capacity. And I think that's because people love the information that I'm able to present at the seminars. I talk about wills and trusts, the importance of them to get assets protected if you ever need nursing home care. Please call my office at 989-793-2300 to make a reservation. I promise you, you will not be disappointed if you come to one of my seminars.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle, so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
This is Staples.
So rumor has it that Staples has everything I need to ship.
We have all the shipping supplies and services you need.
Boxes?
Yep.
Mailers?
Yeah, and we have UPS here in store.
Huh. What will Staples think of next?
Right?
No, seriously, I'm asking, what will they think of next?
Staples is your one-stop shipping destination. Now get 50% off shipping boxes, mailers, or tubes when you buy 5 of the same item in-store or online with 1-hour pickup. Staples, the best-kept secret in shipping. Ends 12/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staplesconnect.com/shipping for details.
What's the best product I bought this year? Oh, that's easy. Salonpas pain relieving patches. The proven medicines in Salonpas patches reduce my pain and let me do the things I need to do every day.
In a recent clinical study, patients using Salonpas reported improved sleep, mood, and the ability to work. They had less pain and were able to reduce their use of oral pain medications.
For pain, I use Salonpas. It's good medicine. He said me too.
Art Lewis here for WSGW, inviting you to explore America's last frontier, Alaska, from August 30th to September 10th, 2023. You'll fly from Detroit to Fairbanks for the start of a 12-day land and sea adventure. Ride the stern wheel of discovery as you learn about Alaska's diverse culture and rich history. Then it's on to Denali National Park for a tundra wilderness tour. From Denali, you'll ride a luxury dome rail car to Talkeetna and stay at the Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge. The next day finds you driving to Whittier to board Holland America's New Amsterdam for a 7-night cruise. You'll see Hubbard Glacier, Glacier Bay, plus stops in Skagway, Juneau, and Ketchikan before sailing the Inside Passage to your final destination of Vancouver, BC. Past experience tells us this will sell out fast. For a brochure, send your address to me and I will forward the brochure to you. Send to artlewis@wsgw.com. That's ARTLEWIS at WSGW.com. Alaska is calling.
Trying to find when and where you can hear the Tigers, Red Wings, Michigan football and basketball, Saginaw Spirit hockey, and SPSU football on WSGW? Just click on the sports broadcast box on WSGW.com for complete game time listings. That's WSGW.com.
All right, we're back with you here at Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center for elder law attorney Carol Thomas, our guest this hour. And before I forget, because we could talk for hours and I'd forget to ask, do you have any seminars coming up?
I'm so glad you asked.
I thought you would be.
My next one is here in Saginaw Township, Wednesday, November 30th at the Horizons Conference Center. We have sessions at 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock.
And you need to pre-register. So
absolutely.
How does one do that?
Call 989-793-2300.
Cookies.
Oh, great cookies. Well, actually, morning cinnamon rolls.
Oh.
Evening cookies. So if that makes a difference on which one you want to attend. But in the past, they have filled a capacity and still with some kind of COVID restrictions, even though not major, we can't jam them in like we used to. So
no charge.
No charge.
And it takes how long?
I talk for about 45 minutes and then we have questions and answers for about 20 minutes. And we're doing something new because we have some nursing homes that'll be represented. So Megan, you'll be there. You'll be at the seminar. And that way, when people ask questions, I have someone right from the nursing home. We have a representative from Covenant that will be there. So kind of adding some additional information for people.
And you do them elsewhere. So one of the next ones after that.
The next one is back in Bay City. And that's going to be March 15th. Beware the Ides of March. So March 15th, back at the Doubletree. So you'll notice I'm not doing them as frequently as I used to because they do fill up and it takes time if people decide they want to meet with me. But I really need to do these seminars because it's my best way to let people know these are the options. I don't know where else people could find out how to get their assets protected.
So let me ask, at this time in our history with COVID, 2 years living in that pandemic, which all of a sudden produced vulnerabilities to a lot of people who thought they were invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that in your office in terms of the number of people coming in and saying, I better do this?
Absolutely, Art. I think it woke people up that we need to do something because you never do know what could happen tomorrow.
So speaking of that, if I come in today, am I protected tomorrow?
If you come in today, we can get you protected next week. Usually I meet with people, and if they decide to go forward and get all the documents done, they come back in the next week or two. We sign everything. They have to sign the paperwork in order to have the protection availability.
So what happens to somebody who's already in the nursing home, but they're competent? They can sign the paperwork. They can't wait 2 weeks. They're already in the nursing home.
Oh, we get hopping. We visit nursing homes all the time and get things signed.
So it can be immediate if the situation requires it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what do they need to bring to you to, in effect, have that trust written?
And certainly if they would call and make an appointment, my staff would explain to them and we send out a letter. But basically, if they have a home, I'd love a copy of the deed or property tax statement. And this might sound silly, but I'd like a list of the beneficiaries, even if it's children. People sometimes get nervous going to a lawyer and then they forget the birth dates of their children or all that. So just bring the names of children and addresses.
Within the trust, there is something comparable to a will, right?
Well, it's a separate document.
It's a separate document.
It's a separate document.
All right. So they come to you to have this trust drawn up. They bring the deed and your eyes pop out of your head because there's a kid on that deed.
Yes, and that
Now,
happens a lot.
Before it ever goes in the trust, can you have that name removed from the deed?
It depends if the child will agree to sign off. If the child refuses,
really?
We are stuck. And I've had some people that literally have lost their homes because they added a child's name on the deed.
So if mom and dad decide to put the child on the deed,
just
they are providing a certain amount of power to that youngster.
Absolutely.
And they can't go back later and say, oh, we've changed our mind, you're off.
They can try. And most of the time, I would say 80%, certainly the children will sign off. If I have them come in and I explain the seriousness,
the protection of the assets,
that it's worse this way because that's considered a gift. And interestingly, we've had people that think they don't need an elder law attorney's help, but boy, do they. They've gone to nursing homes. Nursing homes will often get people eligible for Medicaid if they don't have any assets. And what happens a lot is the nursing home may not catch that they added a child's name on the deed. That's considered a gift. Now we find out there's a denial 2-3 months later, and someone's going to owe the nursing home for 2 or 3 months, all because they added a name on the deed.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I won't. I have always said, Art, someone could offer me $1 million to add a child's name on a deed, and I won't do it. No, maybe I would for $1 million. I don't know.
No, you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. Because it's not right.
And after all these years, I know you won't. I know you won't. What happens to those documents? I get them. I sign them. And what happens to those documents?
You keep the originals, and then I always have a copy in my office. And if the family want who their trustee is, which typically a child or a niece or a nephew, if they want them to have a copy, we'll give extra copies.
So it does not have to be filed with probate?
No, it does not. We're totally out of the probate court by doing this.
Really? Totally.
Yes.
Out. But what happens if somebody goes into a nursing home, they have the protection. So one spouse in the nursing home, the other spouse at home looking at these papers. What do?
Make sure you come back to us because we want.
That was my question.
Yes, we use these documents now to get the Medicaid eligibility, which there are literally 50 different ways we get people on Medicaid, depending upon married, single, what are the assets, but they're generally we don't have to go back to court. Probably 99% of the time we don't have to.
I won't ask what that 1% is.
You don't want to.
Nothing is perfect, right? I mean, when you're dealing with the laws, there's so many
it might be somebody with a much, much higher net worth.
How does that work, though? I mean, does the law have limits as to what you can protect?
No, but there's some ethics involved at some point also.
I was going to head there, but that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, I mean, the law allows me to get everyone eligible for Medicaid, but at some point, if somebody has millions of dollars, there's no point in wanting to get them on Medicaid. Could I? Yes. I make the decision not to because they don't need it.
Still protect their house?
Yes, but even that's not a concern because they
can afford it. But
because the only time you worry about losing your house is if you end up having the state of Michigan pay for your care, being on Medicaid.
All right. So if you have millions of dollars,
you're not going to be.
You're not going to worry about it anyway. Well, as always, Carol, Fun chatting with you. Remind everybody about your seminar.
Yes, November 30th. It's a Wednesday right after Thanksgiving, 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock at Horizons. And you can call my office at 989-793-2300 to make reservations.
Elder law attorney Carol Thomas, and we'll tell you more about it as we go on throughout the morning hours. We will take our last break for this hour and then be back, tell you what's ahead.
Associates in Eye Care in Saginaw are hosting their Fall Harvest Trunk Show Thursday, November 10th from 1 until 6:30 p.m. Stop in to see all the latest styles in eyewear, giveaways, refreshments, and so much more. Plus, don't forget, most insurance balances will be ending at the end of this year, so make sure while you're there to book your appointment with Dr. Cox, Dr. Kazmarek, or Dr. Engel. For more information, call 792-8686 or stop out Thursday, November 10th from 1 until 6:30 p.m. at Associates in Eye Care off Center Road in Saginaw.
It could be the best years of your life. In retirement, you'll finally get to do what you want to do, but you have to plan for it. Start by tuning into Mindy and Nolan McIntosh of McIntosh and Associates every Sunday at noon for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Make retirement the best time of your life. Tune in Sundays at noon for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
BASF knows your field holds big potential. So when you want to invest in the future, we're ready to be the partner that can help get you further. We put new tools and technologies in your hands so you can grow more, protect more, and command more. And with the BASF financing program, it's easier than ever to expand your operation with better terms and less requirements for investing. Learn more at BASF-grower-finance.com, helping you do the biggest job on earth. Always read and follow label directions.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458, 800-481-1458, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
All right, that's going to do it for this first hour of the Art Lewis Show. Our thanks to elder law attorney Carol Thomas. Our thanks to Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center. And we will be broadcasting here till 11:30 this morning as Carol goes off to work this morning, but we'll remind you about her seminars as we go on through the next hour and a half. We're going to talk about a documentary called Mentality, produced by a McLaren psychiatrist and a local director. All of that coming up after the 10 o'clock news here on WSGW. And that will be next, right after the news.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Inflation peaking. Stocks are soaring after the government released its monthly consumer price index this morning. The Dow is up 873 points on news. The CPI rose 7.7% in October over the year before, and a lower than expected 0.4% from September, a sign the Fed's rate increases may be working. Global X ETF's John Mayer.
Likely they will probably take their foot off the pedal a bit. We're not expecting a halt to rate increases, but perhaps you'll see 25 or 50 basis points in the next meeting.
Inflation is still hammering basic necessities like the price of housing, food, and gas. A Category 1 Hurricane Nicole made landfall near Vero Beach, Florida, early today.
We're still getting lots of wind here in central Florida. The biggest concern appears to be beach erosion, which has eaten away at protective seawalls, including one that collapsed this morning and took a house with it in Wilbur by the Sea near Daytona Beach. Phil Hunter saw it happen.
Pretty loud and shook this thing pretty well, so it's pretty frightening.
High-rise condo buildings in and near Daytona Beach were evacuated before the storm because of the same concerns. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
Nicole is a tropical storm now, headed up the East Coast. Could be a while before we know who controls Congress come the new year. The House, still leaning Republican after Tuesday's midterms. Control of the Senate hinges on 3 key races. question now is, do Republicans want Donald Trump to run again? Correspondent Robert Costa takes a look.
They're saying maybe it's time to go toward Florida Governor Ron DeSantis or give an outsider like Maryland Governor Larry Hogan a chance to carve a new path for the GOP. So a lot of turbulence right now, a lot of conversations about the future.
The Kremlin says Russian troops have begun to withdraw from the key Ukrainian region of Kherson. CBS's Chris Livesay from Kyiv.
Backed by billions in U.S. and international aid, Ukraine is now moving in, but with extreme caution. It could, after all, be a trap, as Ukrainian President Zelensky suggests. The enemy, he says, does not hand out gifts.
Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen's art collection has set a new record at auction. Masterpieces from Cezanne to Seurat, Van Gogh, and Botticelli brought in $1.5 billion at Christie's. Auctioneer Adrian Meyer.
Taken together, tonight's masterworks span over 500 years of art history, with all estate proceeds dedicated to philanthropy pursuant to Mr. Allen's wishes.
The Dow is up 943 points right now. This is CBS News.
Make the hiring process work for you. With Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Hello, this is elder law attorney Carol Thomas. Our Saginaw seminars are coming up on Wednesday, November 30th at the Horizons Conference Center on State Street in Saginaw. I have sessions at 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock.
If you'd like to make a reservation, please call my office at 989-793-2300. I talk about wills and trusts, the importance of them to get assets protected if you ever need nursing home care. It's also extremely important to understand why you need a financial power of attorney. Why do you need a medical power of attorney? I love presenting the seminars because this is where you're going to find out what is necessary. I've had so many people come to my office recently that I am not able to help because they do not have their documents set up. I think it's worth your time to come to one seminar, learn what you need to know, and then you can make the decision. But isn't it amazing? By coming to one seminar, you can learn how to protect your life savings. Please call my office at 9
the pet studying the outcome, the millage providing 85% of the library's annual budget. Since the August millage defeat, a GoFundMe account raising more than $260,000 to keep the doors open. But library president Larry Walton says it's just a short-term fix.
We show that just short of 2 years, we can keep the library open.
It's unclear at this time what the future of the library will be. Both millage defeats, backed by a conservative group in the township of nearly 10,000 people, opposed to books featuring LGBTQ-themed material. I'm Erin Vermeulen on the Michigan News Network.
WSGW News Time 1010. I'm Mike Percha.
Here's your WSGW weatherology forecast. Mostly sunny skies here for today with a high into the mid-70s. Winds out of the southwest at 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 25. And then for tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 50. Friday, mostly cloudy skies, high of 58 degrees. Then by Saturday, a few spotty rain showers here late, partial sunshine and a high around 43. Sunday, partly sunny skies, high of 38 degrees. Then by Monday, partial sunshine, a high of 39. Tuesday, chance for rain and snow mixing early, cloudy, high of 40. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with the WSGW weatherology forecast. Currently, it's 62.
Now, the only local radio talk show offering you the chance to ask your questions and express your opinions. From around your block to around the world, the Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online, WSGW.com.
All right, we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show. Just a note to the guys in the studio, we're having a signal issue, so some of my computer information is down, and I do not have control of the station computer, so I thought I'd mention that this morning so you guys know what's happening. So I'm assuming my guests are on the phone this morning, and we'll thank you, and we'll find that out right now. There is a documentary going to be shown at Saginaw Valley State University this weekend called Mentality. And it is the product of its producer, Dr. Mukesh Lathia, who is a McLaren psychiatrist, and its director, Garrett Morgan, who is a Michigan director. And we say good morning first to Dr. Lathia. Good morning. Doctor, are you there? All right, guys, I'm not hearing. There, maybe now. Doctor, are you there? Dr. Lathia?
I'm here.
There you are.
Look, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. And also with us, the director, Garrett Morgan.
Thank you.
Garrett, good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hey, I may be a little bit delayed here because of my signal problems, but hang in with us. So let's start with a bit of an overview. How did this documentary Mentality come about?
Yeah,
So if you don't mind me tackling that first,
yes,
Dr.
go ahead,
Lathia.
yes.
Yeah, so my last documentary that I also did in the Bay City, Saginaw area was about addiction, and that was back in 2017. And I met Dr. Lathia at a film screening, and things just kind of went from there.
And the subject matter, Dr. Lathia, the movie is called Mentality. What is it about?
The film is about mental illness, art. It's about not only just the stigma. We have touched upon, a wide variety of subjects, including the funding of mental health system, the accessibility of mental health system, and of course the stigma of mental health system, and how does one help patients or families of patients to get the mental health services that they need and they deserve. I've been wanting to do this film for many, many years, but then I met Garrett at the Hell's Half Mile Film Festival, and he agreed to do that. So we have done this. So hopefully people will learn how to access the mental health system, and also the intricacies of mental health system. That is, it's a very broad subject that we have tried to, show in this mentality film.
Garrett, when is the movie going to be shown?
So we're having a screening this Saturday at 1:30 at SVSU, and admission is going to be free. So anyone who wants to come by and see, both Dr. Lathy and I will be there for Q&A. It's going to be in the Rhea Miller Recital Hall.
And
that's this Saturday, November 12th.
And how long a documentary is this?
It's about an hour and 17 minutes, roughly, a little less than that.
So, Dr. Lathy, let's talk about some of the subject matter for a minute. Mental health, I can never remember a time in my life where it's been talked about more than it has been in this day and age. It seems like we are more willing to come forward, talk about mental health. Have we progressed to the point where the stigma has been minimized?
The stigma has been somewhat minimized, but it is still there, and that is why there is the need to show a film like Mentality, so that we can at least start the conversation somewhere. What happens is the patient themselves are very stigmatized. There is an external stigma which kind of feeds into the internal stigma. So there's a lot of denial. And a lot of the times the patients do not come to us in time. So the stigma is definitely better than before, but it is still a taboo subject for many patients and even their families.
So I have to ask about patients that come to you because of that stigma. Do they do so voluntarily, or are they often referred?
Most of them are referred. There are some who are self-referred, but these are the patients who have been in the system before. But most of them are referred. Either they're referred by their primary care physicians, or their family members, or their therapist, or for example, community mental health centers. So most of them are referred.
Are they willing participants?
As an outpatient, they are. Some of them start very, they start very gingerly in the beginning, and then we have to make sure that we kind of involve them in the treatment plan. And once they see that the medications and therapy help them, then they become very willing participants. So first few sessions with them are usually quite challenging.
And typically, when a patient comes to you and there's a certain reluctance, how do you bridge that reluctance as a psychiatrist?
We do what is called a very structured interview, a psychiatric evaluation. And of course, the main goal of the interview is to come to the right diagnosis, because that becomes a challenge sometimes. The patients sometimes are not aware of their symptoms or are not willing to talk about their symptoms. So the most important thing is to come to a diagnosis, and then encourage them to feel a participant. We should work as a team with the patient. And once we do that, and once we have this therapeutic alliance with them, then they are very willing, and they're willing to take the medications, do therapy, and many of them do very well after that.
When someone comes to you with a mental health issue, they've been referred or what have you, are there usually other medical conditions associated?
Many times there are, but there are many people who just have primary psychiatric illness. Many young people have just a primary psychiatric illness, either depression, anxiety, bipolar. But yes, there could be comorbid conditions, particularly in some middle-aged or elderly people, and sometimes there are quite a few medical conditions which affect their mental illness too, or which could be the cause of their mental illness.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break, come back. When we come back, Garrett will ask you maybe to walk us through this documentary a little bit. We're talking to our special guests who produced the documentary Mentality, and they are Dr. Mukesh Lathia, McLaren psychiatrist, and Michigan director Garrett Morgan. We will be back with more right after these notes.
Do you have Medicare questions? Confused by all those TV ads? There are options available to you now through December 7th that you didn't have before. At Medicare Choices of Saginaw, they can put together a program unique to you, even a no copay plan. That's right, no copay. Their hybrid Medicare plan helps you save at least half of a Medicare supplement plan with no premium increases each and every year. Talk to Medicare Choices. It'll be the best call you ever made. Call 989-899-7820. Medicare Choices of Saginaw. Again, 989-899-7820.
Hometown feel and big time winning. That's Saginaw Eagles Landing, the place where everyone greets you with smile after smile. In the casino, at the restaurants, or in the hotel. This is a getaway that makes you feel right at home. We've got hundreds of slots, great food, and a comfy place to stay. So come on in and see what the good times are all about. Saginaw Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel. Real fun, real friendly.
Visit saginaw-eagleslanding.com for complete rules and details.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about Orgovix.
Orgovix Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact: Orgovix is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovix may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovix can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovix treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovix may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovix. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks opened sharply higher. The Dow was up more than 900 points in early trading after the consumer price index reading for October showed signs of price increases moderating. In the year ending in October, the CPI rose 7.7%. The market's looking for indications inflation is moderating, hoping the Fed will be less aggressive in raising interest rates. Tesla shares opened higher, though Wedbush analyst Dan Ives removed Tesla from his best ideas list, saying Twitter has become an albatross for Tesla shares. Crypto exchange Binance is walking away from its deal to rescue its rival trading platform FTX. Binance says it pulled out of the deal after reviewing the company's finances. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Starting to realize your small business is a little overwhelmed by the holiday rush? It's still not too late to get all of your shipping and mailing under control with Stamps.com. Sign up right now, and you'll be printing your own postage in just minutes with discounted USPS and UPS shipping rates. Just go to Stamps.com, click the mic at the top of the page, and use code BUSINESS for a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. That's Stamps.com, code BUSINESS.
All right. I apologize for the delays.
Corum fights to the end zone, holds the ball out. Touchdown, Wolverines. The Michigan Wolverines host the Nebraska Cornhuskers in another Big Ten battle Saturday afternoon at 2:30 on 790 News Radio WSGW.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW from Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center. Having a little bit of a technical issue, so if we disappear for a minute or two, please forgive us. We are talking to our special guests, producers of the documentary Mentality, which will be shown at Saginaw Valley State University this weekend, Dr. Mukesh Lathia, who is a McLaren psychiatrist, and its director from Michigan, Garrett Morgan. Garrett, let me ask you to kind of give us a synopsis of Mentality.
Sure. Yeah. So Mentality tracks the evolution of mental health treatment, and it does that through stories of patients and professionals that we followed, but also exploring the history, kind of where we've come from. And it's been quite a road. Each patient represents a different diagnosis. We've talked to people with panic disorder, bipolar, ADHD, pretty much not everything. Obviously, there's a lot, but we definitely talked to a lot of people, and each of them kind of a big important element of this film is just allowing them to have the floor and not letting the story get muddied by an agenda, I'll say. It's mostly just about people sharing their opinions,
So I have to ask, many films, documentaries and otherwise, in order to tell the story sometime, don't want to trust amateurs. They use professionals, actors, if you will. If I go to see Mentality, am I going to see actors, or am I going to see the actual participants who waive their rights and talk about their conditions?
Everything you see will be real. Yeah, they're all real people. There's no actors in this.
And that really provides a greater impact, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think having it feel so local, having it be centered around kind of the Great Lakes area, I think that's important to people here watching it. They're seeing their family members, their friends being represented.
So let me ask about the director's point of view. If I gave you the option of presenting the story using scripted actors, same stories, but you're going to use actors because they're going to produce what you're looking for, versus using pure amateurs and having to direct them and get their stories, which one would you do?
I'm always going to choose real people. It's more challenging, obviously, because there's a level of trust that you have to build with people when you're involving them in a documentary, because you're putting their life on blast in a way. They're sharing very vulnerable moments, but it's worth it because it's real,
And how long did it take you to shoot this?
It was, what would you say, Dr. Lathia, like 3 years?
Yeah, it actually took 3 years. A number of things happened while we were making, and last but not the least was the COVID, which kind of prevented us from doing a real-time interview with some of the patients. So
it is wild looking at the project through that, because when we started this, I was still a student going to school, and then the pandemic is kind of it becomes a part of the story because it was such a huge moment for society, but it also has a lot to do with mental health. So
is this film, The Mentalist, is it narrated through the various scenarios, or do the scenarios carry the weight?
Yeah, that was another big reason I wanted to just let people talk for themselves. At one point we toyed around with having a narration, but I think it's really important for everyone to be able to just speak for themselves entirely.
So literally, this is a film about the very people who have suffered and have been treated. And
exactly.
Yes.
And so do you carry them Doctor, do you carry them from first meeting to conclusion of treatment? How far along do you go with their process?
Well, we just, as Garrett said, it was kind of a free-flowing thing because we realized that when we just give them the floor and let them talk, then they themselves talk about how their journey began. So if one watches the film, one can see how, the patients themselves are talking about their journey. Many of them are talking about how their mental health journey started. Many of them are talking about how they are doing now. And we just, gently nudged them along as the interview went. So it was not necessarily that all of them went back to the beginning of their journey, but some of them did. So that's how it was structured. And although it was my concept of making the film, the entire structure of the film, I have to give credit to Garrett. He is the one who came up with the structure. It's not a linear story of different patients because the patients kind of come in and out of the film, and that was Garrett's idea. And so far, it has been very effective.
How many of the patients that you see, Doc, actually end up with, for lack of a better word, a cure, as opposed to having to be treated lifelong?
Well, most of the psychiatric illnesses, you can, it's like, the best analogy I can make is with diabetes and high blood pressure. They can be completely controlled. Many of them cannot be cured, but they can be completely controlled with medications and therapy. The problem is most of the patients, when they start feeling better, they stop the medications and then they are back to square one. So we can control them. We know the psychiatric illnesses are actually physical illnesses in some sort, that there is a change in brain chemistry. So most of the patients who have severe psychiatric illness need medications for many long time. But now we have such state-of-the-art, wonderful medications that it's okay to give them for many years.
That's my next question, really. From the time you began practice to today, have there been a lot of changes in the treatment of psychiatric conditions?
Oh, definitely. There has been a lot of changes. We got some wonderful, as I said, state-of-the-art medications. In fact, psychiatry is one field where the number of medications that have come out in the last 5 years itself is amazing. We have so many new medications. There are so many different treatment modalities we can do, like transmagnetic stimulation, like Spravato, which is actually a ketamine inhaler for depression. So this is very exciting. Last 10 years have been very exciting. We are making real changes in patients' life because of all these wonderful treatments and options that we have.
And I guess we need to separate out psychiatry from neurology, if you will. We're talking about mental illness as opposed to, say, Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. Where do they fit into the scheme of things?
Right. But one has to remember that Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, although they are primarily neurological disorders, but they have psychiatric sequelae. For example, patients who have Alzheimer's do have, behavior issues, and sometimes, they have hallucinations or paranoia. Patients with Parkinsonism are at a very high risk to develop depression and then later on even dementia. So there is an overlap between Parkinson's as well as Alzheimer's and a few other illnesses between neurology and psychiatry.
All right, Garrett, let's go back and leave everybody with information on when they can see Mentality and where.
Sure. Yeah. So Mentality is going to be playing this Saturday at 1:30 p.m. and that's going to be at Rhea Miller Recital Hall That's inside of Curtis Hall at SVSU.
Any charge?
And Dr. Lafayette and myself will be there.
Any charge?
No, free admission. So anyone and everyone, please. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, this is being actually, I'm so grateful.
M&R Garage Door wants to remind you.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm so grateful that Great Lakes Bay Health Center has agreed to sponsor it, and SVSU has supported it. So I'm hoping that a lot of people come and watch the film, and the whole idea is to, as I said earlier, to at least start a conversation. So it is open and free to the community, and we'll have Q&A at the end with Garrett and myself. We'll be more than happy to answer all the questions.
Excellent. Guys, listen, I appreciate your being with us this morning and telling us about mentality. And I hope you get a big crowd because it's an important topic in our lives and in the community. Garrett, thank you for being with us today.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Dr. Lafayette, thank you very much too. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much, Arthur.
Have a great day, both of you. Thanks for being with us.
You too.
All right. Again, 1:30, the Rhea Miller Recital Hall in the Commons Building at Saginaw Valley State University this Saturday, the film Mentality. And you'll meet Dr. Lafayette and Director Garrett, and they will also be there to answer questions for you. We'll have open phones for the remainder of the hour. Anything you want to chat about, you can give us a call, 989-752-6111. A 401k can be an important asset for many American retirements. You make contributions to your 401k every single paycheck for years and even decades. Its tax advantages and portability may enable workers to build sizable and important nest eggs. But its flexibility can also be costly if you aren't aware of potential mistakes. Great Lakes Investment Advisors have a guide that will teach you how to avoid an IRS early distribution penalty and full taxation on rollovers, the little-known weapon you can use, your most mistake-proof option, and more. Request your guide today at 989-835-7203 or visit GreatLakesInvestmentAdvisors.com. This commercial shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or advisory services of any state other than Michigan or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Advisory services offered through Great Lakes Investment Advisors, a registered investment advisor in the state of Michigan. We'll take a break and we will be back with more as we broadcast from Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center on WSGW.
M&R Garage Door wants to remind you to get those home improvement projects done now before winter weather hits. Now is the perfect time to replace that old garage door with an M&R door or finally get a garage door opener. Their pros can install a pre-painted, maintenance-free garage door that will work great and look fantastic for years. An insulated door will also help you save on your home heating bills. They can get your existing door ready for winter with new rubber bottom and perimeter seals. They can professionally install or repair any brand, residential and industrial door or opener. Remember, at M&R Garage Door, service is their specialty.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Moments like making my kids my famous meatballs mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for postmenopausal women or for men with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
Hands it off Malcolm. And across the goal line, it's a touchdown, Saginaw Valley. A solid win for the SVSU Cardinals at Northern Michigan. The Cards return home for the regular season finale and senior day against Michigan Tech this Saturday afternoon at 12:30 p.m. on 100.5 FM News Radio WSGW. SVSU football is brought to you by Mercantile Bank, Forward Energy, A-Plus Plumbing, Jake Nathan Neurosurgery, United Financial Credit Union, and Westside Decorating Center.
Saginaw Valley State University football on WSGW. Broadcasting from the premier kitchen and bath gallery showroom and design center studios. This is WSGW.
And we are back with you on the Art Lewis Show, broadcasting from Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center for Carol Thomas, our attorney at law who does elder law. Carol will be having a free seminar in Saginaw on wills and trusts. Questions to be answered. For example, your house may be subject to a lien if you've been placed in a nursing home. Are your assets protected if you end up in a nursing home? Common legal mistakes people make which cause major financial problems later. And what happens if you don't do any planning? These seminars are Wednesday, November 30th, 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. at Horizons Conference Center, 6200 State Street in Saginaw. They always fill up and there is limited seating. So if you'd like to be in attendance, there is no charge. It's very informative. There's no pressure. Call 989-793-2300 for reservations. Carol asks you do that because of the limited seating, and they can't exceed a certain number, so they want to make sure that they have a slot for you for November 30th. For the remainder of the hour, which isn't going to be very long, about 17 minutes, we'll have open phones at 989-752-6111. You may notice that over the last couple of weeks anyway, we've had a number of programs dealing with mental health issues. And the reason is simple. Whether we want to admit it or not, it's prevalent in our society. There are many, many folks walking around with one degree of mental illness or another. And convincing people that it's in their best interest to seek help, not worry about stigmas, not worry about anything else, worry about you and your mental health is the most important issue. Not only will it help you as an individual if you're feeling depression, bipolar, and all of those other things that can be treated, but it will help those you love and those who are around you too. So I would suggest to anyone who suspects they may be suffering from one condition or another, and sometimes you don't even realize it. Others may point it out to you. Seek the help that's out there. As you heard Dr. Lathia say, we've come a long, long way in psychiatric treatment. And while the phrase psychiatric treatment turns people off because, they're afraid they'll be stigmatized if they go see a psychiatrist, I don't look at it that way. Psychiatrist is just another doctor. If you go to a family doctor and you're diagnosed with diabetes, well, Okay, but you're the only one that knows you went to the doctor unless you tell somebody. If you go to see a psychiatrist, the same rules of confidentiality apply. You go see the psychiatrist, they're not going to walk outside and yell at the top of their lungs, "Hey, guess who came and saw me?" It's private between you and your practitioner. So I just implore you that waiting is never the right answer, because typically waiting produces something worse than if you had taken care of it earlier. That's also true in medical conditions. Medical conditions tend to progress. How often do we hear of early cancer patients being treated and cured as opposed to someone who didn't go seek treatment? The cancer progressed into stage 4 and the hope diminishes. So don't be afraid to visit a doctor, whether it's a family doctor, where you might start and say, "I'm having these feelings. What do I need to do about it?" And maybe that doctor can refer you to a psychiatrist, or simply look one up and make an appointment. Either way, don't wait. It'll help you and it'll help those that love you. All right, we're going to take a break. Come back. Lines are open again. They'll remain open till the top of the hour here on the Art Lewis Show. And when we come back, we may chat with Megan for a moment about Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center. All ahead here on WSGW.
Keep the Saginaw Children's Zoo in mind while you shop for your holiday gifts. Visit our website to purchase a membership. Have a wild holiday and bring a gift from the zoo to your little ones this season. Stay connected to what is happening at the Saginaw Children's Zoo by visiting our website at saginawzoo.com.
Saginaw Children's Zoo.
How do you do?
Moments like seeing my son's team cheer him on mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for postmenopausal women or for men with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
The WSGW Morning Team Show.
The WSW online poll for you is about Christmas lights. Christmas will be here before you know it. In some ways, it's already here. Most stores have the holiday displays. Gift shopping is being encouraged. Decorations are being seen in communities and neighborhoods. And some of those decorations do include the most obvious and easy to see, the Christmas lights. But when should the Christmas lights be turned on? It seems that many people use Thanksgiving as the reference point, so we will use that as the reference point. Poll question for you. Do you think Christmas lights should be turned on before or after Thanksgiving? And that's how you answer. You either answer before Thanksgiving or you say wait until
till after Thanksgiving. The WSW online poll, when you head to WSW.com, scroll down, find the poll box, and you can make your vote.
I always say Thanksgiving weekend is a good time to put everything up if that's what you'd like to do.
Except we get a real Christmas tree, and by the time Christmas comes, it looks like Charlie Brown's Christmas tree.
The Morning Team Show, weekdays 5:30 till 9 on WSGW.
And we are back with you on the Art Lewis Show, coming to you from Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center for the benefit of elder law attorney Carol Thomas. Before we get to our phones, Megan is with us. And Megan, give us again just an overview of Hoyt.
Wonderful. Hoyt has been in the Saginaw community for quite some time. We do short-term rehab and long-term care. We are staffed. We are taking advanced COVID precautions, and we are willing to accept you.
And have we gotten away from the term nursing home? I know nursing is still part of your title, but kind of gotten away from that, haven't we?
Yeah, the word nursing home has quite a bad stigma attached to it, but it's really more than that. It's really for short-term rehab, in the unfortunate situation that it doesn't work out, that you can return to being independent, then we look at long-term. But we have a full hall for rehab and a wonderful therapy gym with great therapists. So it should not be stigmatized the way it is.
The advantage, although you hope you don't have to use it, is you can move from the short to long within one facility.
Yes, that is a benefit.
How do they get a hold of you?
We can be reached at 989-754-1419.
Very good. Megan, thank you much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. All right, let's talk to Carl in Saginaw. Carl, good morning to you.
Good morning, Art.
Morning.
During the break, they just played your morning show piece about when Christmas lights should go up.
Yeah.
And well, I'd like to add Christmas music on the radio and movies on TV. Christmas movies. I do not want to see, Christmas Vacation before Thanksgiving. I just.
And you don't want to hear Christmas music.
I don't want to hear Christmas music before Thanksgiving. No.
You've been talking to my wife.
Well.
I understand, though, because I tend to agree with you, by the way.
Yeah. Well, the election Tuesday surprised a lot of people. I was surprised about the Michigan legislature that both houses, changed over. I don't think anybody was expecting that. Maybe they were.
No, I don't think so either. I think you're right. I tell you, though, my feeling is there are two reasons that happened. And the first reason, and probably the most significant one, was redistricting, as put forth by the redistricting committee. And the second, I think Prop 3 drove a lot of folks to the poll that otherwise would have voted otherwise or taken a back seat. So those are the two, or stay at home. Those are the two issues I look at as the driving force and motivator to what happened in Michigan, anyway.
Yeah, well, I think it's good news. I think it's, I'd like to see, a female governor and Secretary of State, Attorney General. I think Whitmer's got a bright future. I know some of your listeners think she's, the devil, herself, but I think in Democratic circles, she's riding pretty high right now.
Well, she has been. I mean, you go back to the 2020 election. She was in the mix for vice president. So, I mean, it's not new that she's being looked at nationally, and this election won't hurt her any. There's no doubt about that.
No, and I like Joe Biden. I think he's a good man, but I think he should declare that he is not going to run. He's just going to do the job of president for the next 2 years, and then I'd like to see someone else, take up the reins and run with it.
I will echo that on both sides. I prefer not to see Joe Biden run again, but I also prefer not to see Donald Trump run either. I've tell you what, I've talked to a lot of people, and lately I've been getting this negative Trump vibe. Now, I know there are lots of people out there that support Donald Trump and still support him, and or like Joe calls them MAGA Republicans. But I've talked to an awful lot of people who I knew were supporters of Trump who have begun to move away from him. There seems to be an undercurrent, and I don't think this election did him any favors.
No, I think people are getting tired of him and his style. His routine, it's getting a little old, I think. Apparently at his last rally, people were sitting in their chairs. They tried to get a build the wall chant going, but it fizzled out. It just, he does these rallies and he does like the greatest hits.
Yeah.
But it seems like his heart isn't in it. But I think DeSantis, is obviously going to be a place where some of these Republicans are going to look forward to.
A lot of them. I mean, particularly, I have to tell you, talked to a lot of folks and read a lot after his acceptance speech of winning the gubernatorial election for re-upping as governor. And he gave this fiery speech, and there were a lot of people impressed, and it didn't hurt him any. I expect that while there may be others that come out of the woodwork and try and run, I really believe DeSantis is going to be the nominee of the party if he chooses to run. We haven't heard that yet, but I suspect he will.
Yeah, if I had to bet today, I'd put my money on DeSantis as the candidate.
And who would you put your money on for the Democrats?
Well, maybe Whitmer, maybe Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, that would be the one I would think. He's made the most noise.
There again, I know your listeners hate Kamala Harris. I don't think she's that bad of a person.
I don't think she's electable. If I'm a Democrat, I want to find out who's electable. I don't think she is. I'm not sure Newsom is either, but he's going to be the most dynamic of the candidates. So time will tell. Hey, got to run.
Yeah.
All right, Carl, listen,
Okay,
appreciate always talking to you. Thanks, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye now. All right, that's going to do it for the Art Lewis Show for these hours. We'll be back with Focus. We're going to focus on finances with Mindy McIntosh from McIntosh & Associates. That is what's coming up. But before we get there, we have to take a break for these notes.
Bay City Bridge Partners is bringing you the same convenient route between home, work, school, and many of Bay City's best restaurants and attractions. It's Liberty Bridge, but better. With a smooth new deck surface, new more reliable bascule mechanics, electronics, and technology, saving you time and fuel costs, and adding another 75 years of life to help elevate and grow the Bay City community. Learn about the ease of electronic tolling and pre-register for a transponder account at baycitybridgepartners.com.
Hello, this is Elder Law Attorney Carol Thomas. Our Saginaw seminars are coming up on Wednesday, November 30th at the Horizons Conference Center on State Street in Saginaw. I have sessions at 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock.
I love presenting my seminars. There's so much information that people need to know. And the biggest comment I get after my seminars is I had no idea there was so much to learn. And honestly, I don't know where else people would get the information necessary to know, how do I protect my assets if I ever need a long-term care? How do I protect my assets if I ever need nursing home? What if my husband has a stroke and goes into a nursing home? Are we prepared to lose our life savings? I have been presenting seminars for over 20 years, and they always fill to capacity. And I think that's because people love the information that I'm able to present at the seminars. I talk about wills and trusts, the importance of them to get assets protected if you ever need nursing home care. Please call my office at 989-793-2300 to make a reservation. I promise you, you will not be disappointed if you come to one of my seminars.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of the Art Lewis Show. We want to thank our hosts here at Hoyt Nursing and Rehab Center and Carol Thomas for sponsoring our broadcast. Coming up after the news, we're going to be talking to Mindy McIntosh, and she and her husband have, of course, McIntosh and Associates. They want to focus on financial wellness in the community and financial planning, particularly as we get toward the end of the year. So that is coming up right after the news here on WSGW.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by General Steel.
I'm Steve Kathan. Consumer prices up 7.7% last month from 1 year ago. Painful, yes, but it's still off the higher